Welcome to Word Chapter 14 Grader Project Walkthrough. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's go to My Lab and Mastering. Open My Lab and Mastering. And click on the assignment calendar. It'll take a couple seconds to load. And we'll go ahead and click on next week's assignments. For this is on the 7th. And Chapter 14, Grader Project. Alright, go ahead and download your materials. Notice you have your instructions. We'll download the instructions. And let's go ahead and download your student file. Once again, do not download all files. It downloads a zip file, and you will have issues saving and submitting your file at the end. And come down here and click on your student file, the file with your name. Hit Enable Editing. I'm going to go ahead and maximize my screen here. And we are done with step number 1. On step number 2, it says, on page 1, click the beginning of the newsletter title. So go ahead and click at the beginning of the title, and it wants us to search for an online picture using the word microscope. We're going to go ahead, anytime you want to insert something, we're going to come to the Insert tab. From the Insert tab, we're going to find Online Pictures under Illustrations. Type in microscope. Once you type in microscope, hit enter. And I like this very first one. I think it goes very well with the assignment. So let's go ahead and click on that first one and hit insert. However, when it inserts, it is a very big picture. We need to go ahead and scroll down real quick. Notice how it says this photo by unknown author is licensed under CC. Go ahead and click on that text. Go ahead and click on the outer border of that text right here. And hit the delete key. And it will delete that text for us, and now we are left with just the picture. In our instructions, it wants us to change the picture height to 0.7. So let's come to our contextual tab right here under Picture Tools. Let's click on the Format. And under our size grouping here, let's change the height to 0.7. Hit enter. It makes that picture a little bit more manageable. Now it wants us to recolor the picture by applying a blue accent color 1, light. To do that, come to our Picture Tools Format tab. Over here under the Adjust grouping, notice there is Color. We're going to click on Color. And under recolor, we want to find blue accent color 1 light. And right here it is, blue accent color 1 light. We want to apply a picture border. So under our picture styles, right here under picture border, click the down arrow. We're going to do a black text 1 picture border, this color right here. We're also going to change the weight of that picture border. So let's click on picture border again. Where it says weight, hover over weight. And click 2 1/4 point right here. And we are done with step number 2. On step number 3, it wants us to change the text wrapping of the picture to square. Well, notice that our picture is still selected. If it's not selected, go ahead and click on it. And notice we have this icon right here. This is our layout options. We're going to click on this icon. And with text wrapping, the very first option is square. Click on square. And now the text will wrap around the picture. And it says change the horizontal alignment to left relative to the margin. We're going to come down here to see more under our layout options. We're going to change our horizontal alignment. So let's put a dot next to horizontal alignment. Left relative to margin. Let's change column to margin. And under vertical, let's put a dot next to vertical. And it's going to be top relative to margin. And go ahead and hit OK. And that's going to anchor our picture right here where we want it. Now, in step number 4, it says, starting with the paragraph, new research on electronic health records, right here. Select all of the text from that point to the end of the page. So we just want to highlight this to the end of the page. So we're going to click hold, and we're going to drag all the way down to just this first page right here. Notice how I have these section breaks and I have these paragraph groupings. Make sure when you start the assignments, go to your home tab here. Under your paragraph grouping, click on these paragraph marks. Once again, these paragraph marks don't print. They're just for your own visual aid. So we're going to highlight all the way down to just past this paragraph mark. And it wants us to insert, and it specifically says in the instructions, do not include that section break. We're going to go ahead and format the text using 2 columns. So we're going to go to our Layout tab. Under our Layout tab, we have our Page Setup grouping. We're going to click on Columns, and we're going to do 2 columns. And now we're starting to look a little bit more like a newsletter. We've got our 2 columns. Now it wants us to apply Justify Alignment. To justify our alignment, we're going to come to the Home tab. Make sure that this text is still selected. And under the paragraph grouping here, under the Home tab, this icon here is Justify. And what Justify does is it puts it like a block style on both sides. It adds a little bit of space in between and gives us a block style, sort of like what a newspaper looks like. And it wants us to insert a column break before the subheading Health Information. So let's scroll down where it says Health Information. We're going to go ahead and put our cursor right before the H. We're going to come up here to the Layout tab. We're going to go to the Layout tab where it says Breaks under Page Setup. We're going to do a column break. And now our health information and privacy is going to move up here to the second column. And it wants us to save our file, so let's go ahead and hit the save button here to save our file. Now it wants us to start our web browser, and it wants us to navigate to this particular website. Now sometimes I have issues with this particular step. So what I normally do in this particular case is it doesn't make a difference which website you go to. It just wants us to insert a screenshot. So let's go ahead and come down to click at the paragraph below the new research on electronic health. Let's see here. New research on electronic health. Let's go ahead and put our cursor at the end of that paragraph. So right after this period after patient. And we're going to insert a screenshot. Let's go to the Insert tab. From the Insert tab, we're going to come over here to Illustrations, and it says Screenshot. I'm going to click the down arrow, and it's giving me 2 different options. One's a blank black screen, one's something else. I'm just going to go ahead and do this blank black screen. I'm not going to worry about trying to go to the website. Half the time it doesn't work for me. So I'm just going to click on one of these available windows, and it's going to put that in for us. But just know that you can put a screenshot in of a browser of whatever's on your desktop if you like. Now it wants us to apply a black text one picture border. So let's come to our picture tools right here and click on the Format tab. And under Picture Styles we have Picture Border. We're going to click on Picture Border. We're going to click that black text one again. And we're going to do a picture border. We're going to click on the picture border again, and we're going to change the weight. I'm going to change this weight to 1 point. And we are done with step number 5. On step number 6, it says select the subheading New Research on Electronic Health Records. So we're going to go ahead and highlight New Research on Electronic Health Records. And go ahead and you can include that paragraph marking afterwards. And it wants us to use the font dialog box to change it to bold small caps. We're going to come up here to our Home tab under our font grouping here. Click on this little guy right here. This is our font dialog box, this little guy. And it's going to bring up our font dialog box. We're going to go ahead and click on the bold. And we're going to put a check mark next to small caps. It also wants us to change the color. So where it says font color automatic, click the down arrow. And we want to dark blue text 2. So let's find dark blue text 2 right here. And we'll click on that. And hit OK. And notice we now have New Research on Electronic Health Records. It is that dark blue. It's in small caps. And it is bold. Now we want to copy that format to the other different ones that we have. So with it still highlighted, let's come over here and click on Format Painter. Once you click on Format Painter, notice that when you start hovering over text, you have a little paintbrush next to your icon. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to highlight Doctors Define Meaningful Use. I'm going to click on Format Painter again. I'm going to highlight Research Sources Aid in EHR Implementation. And one last time I'm going to click on Format Painter and I'm going to copy it to Health, Information, Privacy, and Security. Now it says apply the now it says select the Doctors Define Meaningful Use subheading. So Doctors Define Meaningful Use subheading. Let's go ahead and highlight this. And it wants us to change the spacing before to 18 point. So let's come to our Home tab here under our paragraph grouping. We're going to click this little guy right here, which is our paragraph settings dialog box. And we're going to change our spacing before to 18 point. And there it is, 18 point, and hit OK. And what that does, it adds a little bit of extra space in between this picture and this subheading. All right, moving on to step number 7. It says select the last paragraph in the newsletter. The last paragraph of this newsletter is this ensuring the privacy and security of health. Go ahead and highlight this entire thing, including the paragraph mark afterwards. We are going to apply a 1-point shadow border. We're going to come to our Home tab. Under our Home tab, we're going to come to our paragraph grouping, and we are going to find where it says borders. Hover over this, it says borders. We're going to click the down arrow, and we're going to go all the way down here to borders and shading. Now we want to do a shadow border. So we need to click on shadow border here. Make sure this says apply to paragraph. If not, go ahead and change this to apply to paragraph. We want to use black text 1 as our color. So we're going to come here to our color. We're going to change this from automatic to black text 1. And we're going to do some shading. So let's go ahead and click on shading. And we're going to do shading. We're going to do fill where it says no color. We're going to find where it says dark blue text 2, but we're going to go ahead and go down 1 to where it says lighter 80%. So right here, the second color down. And hit OK. And now this should be a shadow border. We should have a black border going around it. And it wants us to center the paragraph text. We're going to come to the Home tab. Under our paragraph grouping, we're going to click on this center button right here. And we are done with step number 7. Moving on to step number 8, we're going to go ahead and go down to we're going to go down to page number 2. So now page number 2, this is more of some type of a research paper. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to select all of the text on page 2. So let's highlight from Janet Fisher all the way down to outpatient care. Do not select this page break at the end. And we're going to change the line spacing to 2.0. So come back up here to our home tab and our paragraph grouping and click on this little guy, our paragraph settings dialog box, and change our line spacing from multiple to double. And we're also going to change the spacing after to 0. So where it says spacing after 8 points, we're going to change that to 0 and hit OK. And now we are done with step number 8. Step number 9, it says on page 2, we want to do a first line indent of 0.5. So we're going to scroll up here back to the top of page 2. Right here where it says there is often a discrepancy. Let's go ahead and click right before the T in there. Put our cursor there. Notice how it's waving high. And hit the tab key. The tab key will insert a 0.5 indent, first line indent for us. And we are done with step number 9. On step number 10, it says at the bottom of page 2, in the last line of the text, in the next to the last line of the text after the period, if they had it. So we're going to look here, if they had it, right here. So we're going to put our cursor after the period. So let's put our cursor right here after the period. And once our cursor is right after this period, if they had it, we're going to insert a footnote. We're going to come to our References tab here. Under References tab, we want to hit an Insert Footnote, not an Endnote. We want to hit Insert Footnote. Go ahead and click on that. It will take us down to the bottom of the page. And let's go ahead and type what it wants us to type. And it says the EMR space open parentheses electronic medical record, closure parentheses, space, is the patient record. I'm going to move my sheet here so I can read a little bit better. Patient record created in hospitals and ambulatory environments, comma, oh, no, not comma, semicolon, space, it serves as a data source for other systems, and then hit the period. And notice I misspelled 2 words. We need to fix these. If you misspelled anything, make sure you fix it. I'm just going to right click on ambulatory, and I'm going to change it to its spelling right here. And I also misspelled serves. I'm going to right click on serves, and I'm going to select the right spelling. So I'm going to double check everything and make sure that it is typed in correctly, because we don't want to get an incorrect action, or we don't want to get points off. All right, we are done with step number 10. Let's go ahead and go to step number 11. It wants us to modify the footnote text style. We're going to go ahead and highlight this footnote here, including the 1. Make sure you include this 1 when you highlight this entire thing. Once you've highlighted the entire footnote, right click on it and go to Style. Under Style, we're going to click on Modify. And here we are going to change the font size from 10 to 11. Then we are going to change the paragraph, so we need to come down to our Format button here. And we're going to go to Paragraph. We're going to do a special, we're going to do a first line indent, so let's change this to a first line indent under Special. We are going to double space, so change our line spacing to double. Go ahead and hit OK, and hit OK, and apply. And here it is. We now have our properly formatted footnote. And we're done with step number 11, moving to step number 12. Now this next step is a pretty powerful tool in Microsoft Word. Have you ever done a PowerPoint or some kind of a research paper? The worst part of doing the research paper is doing the works cited page at the end. Well, Word actually has a built-in function that will automatically create that works cited page for you. What you do is you go through the entire document and you put in your citations. Once you do that, you put in the appropriate information and it will automatically create that works cited page for you. To demonstrate, we're going to find page number 2. So let's go scroll back up to here to page number 2. And we're going to find where it says those clinical practices. And we want to go to the end of the paragraph. And we're going to click to the left of the period. So in between lacking and the period. So right here, there is a source, meaning we need to cite some kind of a source that goes into here. So once you've put your cursor between the G and the period, we're going to come up here to our References tab. And we are going to click on Insert Citation. And we are going to add a new source. Now we need to know what type of source that we're using, if you're using a web page, if you're using a book. In this particular case, we want to make sure, we need to make sure we change this. Notice how it says APA. We need to change it to MLA formatting. So hit the Cancel button here. Come up here to our Citations and Bibliography, change it from APA to MLA, style from APA to MLA. Now go ahead and click on your Insert Citation, add a new source. And now we have the proper fields for an MLA formatting. This is a website, so we're going to change it from book. We're going to click the down arrow, and we're going to scroll down until we find website. And notice how it gives us the information that we need to do a proper citation. So let's go ahead and type in our author, which is Gabrielle. Oops, I didn't click on the author tab here. Alright, so once I'm clicked into author, it's Gabrielle. Comma space Barbara. Once again, make sure you do your proper spelling. Space A period. I'm going to hit the tab key. Notice how it takes me to the edit button. I'm going to hit the tab key again, takes me to corporate author. And I hit tab again, it's going to take me to the web name of the web page, which is Do EMRS Make You a Better Doctor. Make sure you capitalize all of the appropriate words. Question mark. Hit the tab key. 2008 is the year. Hit the tab key. July is the month. Hit the tab key. 15. Hit the tab key. The year that we assessed it, was in 2016. Tab key. Month was June. Tab key again. The day was the 30th. And hit the tab key again, and the medium is a web page. So double check everything real quick. Just make sure you have the proper spelling of the author. Make sure you have all the appropriate capital letters in here. Make sure you get that question mark. And make sure everything is in the right place. And hit OK. Now go ahead and it went. Oh, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get rid of this researcher tab if it popped up for you. If it popped up for me, I'm going to close out of it. Notice now we have a citation here. So we're good. That's an MLA citation. We're done with step number 12, moving to step number 13. Now on page 13, page 3, we want to we're going to insert a new citation. This one is going to be at the end of further research. We're going to put our cursor in between the in and the period at the end of that paragraph. We're going to come back up here to our references tab, and we're going to insert another citation. And we're going to add a new source. Notice how if you had to cite the same source a few times, instead of having to type in all that information, it is now saved. So Gabrielle's there if we wanted to use it. But for this one, we want to use a new source. This time it's a book. So let's change it to a book, not a book section. Make sure you select book. And let's change our author. Is going to be Devore, so capital D-E, capital V-O-R-E, comma, space, Amy. Make sure you get that period. Hit the tab key, hit the tab key, hit the tab key, takes us down to title, and then type in the electronic health record for the physician's office, first edition. And we'll do a comma, space, 1, lowercase e. Hit the tab key. The year is 2010. Hit the tab key. The city is Maryland Heights. Hit the tab key. The publisher is Saunders. And tab key, and the medium is print. And we're going to double check everything one more time. Source is book, Devore, comma, Amy with the period. Make sure all of this is spelled correctly and with the proper punctuation. 2010, Maryland Heights, Saunders, and print. Once we have that in, we're going to go ahead and hit OK. And it's going to put in Devore for us. However, the only problem with a book is that when you do MLA citing, you have to put a page number. So let's go back, let's find where we have Devore. Go ahead and click on Devore. And notice when you click on it, there's a down arrow that pops up. Let's click that down arrow. And we're going to hit Edit Citation. And we're just going to add a page number, which in this case is 253. Hit OK. Now we actually just and we just did steps 13 and 14. All right, now the reason why we did our citations this way is so we can do our bibliography, our works cited. So let's scroll down to page number 4, this one right here where it says works cited. And let's put our cursor in this blank line right here. We're going to insert our bibliography. We're going to come to the References tab here. We're going to come to where it says Citations and Bibliography, and we're going to click on Bibliography. And we are going to go all the way down here to Insert Bibliography. And when you do that, notice how it automatically puts in our works cited page for us. No trying to format it, no having to look through books to find out where what spaces go where. It automatically puts in a correctly formatted works cited page for us. So hopefully that will help you with some of your future research papers. And that's it. We are done with this project. We're going to go ahead and hit Save. Hit the Save button again for good measure. We'll close out of it. Let's close out of this downloading starting materials. We're going to choose our file. For me, it's under downloads. Here it is. It's chapter 14. It's got my name on it, or it says student. Yours will have your name on it. I'm going to click on it and hit open and upload and submit for grading. And close the assignment. Now I'm curious to see how well I did. I'm going to scroll back down here. I'm going to find the project. I'm going to click on the 3 dots here. I'm going to view my submissions. And oh, I missed some points. I got a 93. I'm going to click on this. And when I click on that, it's going to give me a breakdown of what I did wrong. And right here, It looks like I missed a point. I'm going to click the down arrow. It said that ensuring privacy of health care says my bottom border width was not set to 1 point. I must have missed that in the instructions. I'm going to scroll down here. And it says edit the DeVore citation to include 253 as the page number reference. I'm not sure why. It says the page number was not set to 253. So I must have done something wrong there. So I can go ahead and open up my Word. I can open back up my file. I can scroll down here. Oh, and it says I put in 243. So I could go ahead and I could right click on DeVore. I could edit the citation. I can change it from 243 to 253 like it's supposed to be. Hit OK. Then I could also come up here and find out where I was supposed to change something to a 1 point. The shadow border, it looks like I did not do a 1 point shadow border. So I could also come back to my document. I could re-highlight this section. Come back up here to my paragraph grouping. Clicking on my down arrow next to borders. Go all the way down to borders and shading. And right here, notice how the width is 1/2 point. I forgot to change it to 1 point. I can hit OK. I can resave my assignment. Close out of it. And I can go ahead and resubmit it. So I'm going to exit out of this scorecard. I'm going to click on Chapter 14 Grader Project. I'm going to upload my file. I want to choose file again. I'm going to select the same file because it's now the new saved updated file. Hit open, upload, and submit for grading. I'm going to close my assignment. And I'm going to click on my 3 dots here next to the assignment, view submissions. And look, I fixed all of my issues. And you can resubmit this as many times for the best grade possible. Once again, I hope this walkthrough helps you out. If you need to contact me through Canvas via email. If this walkthrough helped you out, go ahead and hit like, maybe subscribe. I'm going to be putting new content up. I'm going to do walkthroughs hopefully each week of our grader projects. And have yourself a wonderful day.